Welcome to the Zone of Genius, the podcast where money talk meets real talk. I'm Dana Wilson, founder and CEO of CHIP, which stands for Changing How Individuals Prosper, the financial services marketplace connecting you to trusted financial professionals who get it. You'll hear from experts from our platform who break things down in a way that's honest, actionable, and easy to understand. Whether you're building wealth, healing financial trauma, or just figuring out your next move, this is your go-to spot for real conversations that move you forward. This is your zone to learn, grow, and take charge of your financial story, one empowering conversation at a time. If this episode hits home, subscribe, share it with your people, and of course, leave us a review. And when you're ready to build your financial team, head to chipprofessionals.com to find the right pro for you. We'll see you there.
Hey, hey, hey. Hello. My name's Eugenie George, and I'll be your host today for our Zone of Genius conversation. As y'all know, sometimes Dana will host them, and then I also host them as well. I am the head of content and strategy here at CHIP, so I'm happy to dive in to talk about motherhood and money, financial planning. What's it all about? What are we doing, especially in this time? I do have a special guest. One of our mindset performance coaches, Afiya, is here with us today. Afiya, go ahead and tell the audience about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Afiya Lahens. Including working with CHIP as a mindfulness coach. I'm also a full-time mother, full-time DEIB expert, as well as an executive coach.
Whew, that's a mouthful. How many kiddos do you have?
2 and a bonus son.
Yes. I think we're actually in the same boat. I have 8 month. We're from 0 to 19. So I have a 8 months, 12, and 19, which is a huge gap. But it's fun. It's been good. Yeah. We were talking a lot about money and motherhood, and we talked about this earlier. Like, I think you and I probably need to rewrite our stories, because I think I've been taught in the past of how motherhood should be. And I think I still am somewhat operating on some of these beliefs. And I think even as like a business owner, I as a person that works for CHIP, I as someone that is in a relationship, I haven't really defined what it looks like for me to have a financial plan for my kids, and then also for myself. Yeah, I feel like I did a lot of financial planning beforehand, and then the children came, and then I just kind of forgot it. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I think similar. I think I had messaging from my parents in terms of like what money and finances should look like. I don't think I've ever stepped outside of that and kind of helped to define that myself. But then it's also interesting because when you talk about the range of children in your household, I think there's been a shift in how I thought about money with my oldest to now having a 2-year-old and what that looks like in the, like the generational differences within that small, it's large, actually. I wouldn't say small, large age gap.
Yeah. Cause we have someone that's Gen Z, and then, I'm sorry, this is like a chopstick, but somebody that's like Gen Z. And then we also have Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the youngest is, but the shift is so different in comparison to family members. Like I was talking to our middle child about home ec, and like how home economics used to be a class that was mostly taken by women, but it was like, this is how you make a grocery list. This is how you balance a checkbook. And we like watched all these old movies
Yeah.
about it. And my middle one was like, oh, they're about right. Like, you should go with the grocery plan.
Yeah.
You know, like, you should be doing these things. And I said, I just never thought about that because that's not how I grew up.
Yeah.
And particularly with my family, they're from the South, and then they moved over to the West Coast. Those are two different like value sets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're having two different conversations. So let's start off with our first question, which is, what does wealth or financial security look like for you as a mom?
I think there are actually two different questions. My views of wealth and financial security is completely different.
Okay.
Financial security is making sure that my children have roof over their head, that they're well fed, that they have a path forward after they leave my household when they become young adults themselves. Wealth is more so that they can engage and touch on and do all the things that I didn't get have a chance to do when I grew up. So I guess those are the different viewpoints for me around those two areas.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do think it's important to separate them, but I think that oftentimes I've put them together. So I would say the financial security is, I would say, almost a given.
Yeah.
Like, your needs need to be met. Are you fed? I'm not the best cook, but like, can you eat? Have you been able to, live? Are you able to have, like, honestly, for me, I'm thinking about, like, it's the summer. Like, are you able to afford the things that you were able to afford when you were younger? Like, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
When I think about wealth, like you said earlier, with how you're communicating with kids, I mean, I think a lot of it is the difference between our oldest and our youngest is so different. So, like, our oldest, the whole conversation around with him is like, whatever you do, just make sure you're going back to school. Because now the narrative around wealth is really different. Like, it's all about entrepreneurship and having a t-shirt. And especially if you have someone that is more on the entrepreneurial side, like, that is the conversation we're having. Like, yes, these people have these t-shirt businesses, but they're also going to school, but they're also doing these things. Which I don't think I would have ever had that conversation. And I don't always want to say it's like male versus female, but those conversations are really different. And wealth for me as a mom now is like, okay, I need to be able to explain to them each of the investments that they could do. And like, what does that look like on a day to day? Like, that's something I haven't even talked to them about. So I'm like, I do have these tools. So I probably should start saying, like, this is what a 529 is. Like, we started talking about stocks, but I didn't explain it well enough. So it's like, okay, you got to go back and talk about those things first.
What I also know is, I don't know if it's the same for your children where you are, but I'm finding more of the schools are having discussions, and mentor programs that my daughter's been a part of have included discussions around, investing, finance, just a basic one-on-one level that I never encountered growing up. So I think they may even already have some knowledge, maybe even more than me in some cases, around the financial literacy.
Yeah, I think that that's true. But I also think what's happening too is, if you do have a parent that is looking, or you do have a kid that's looking at financial literacy, there's still a gap. Like,
Mhm.
I think the best way to describe it, or this is like the thing I'm always passionate about, is like when people say they never teach you financial literacy at school. They always say that. They go, they never teach you. I go, yes, they do. I was a math teacher. And stop saying that. They never teach you because they knew. And so I'm like, in math, you learn money, like decimals is a part of financial literacy. And so I think a lot of parents also have that conversation of like, oh, this kid already knows about crypto and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but you experience plus like things that you also learned in school
Yeah.
build your financial literacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm on the same boat. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, how do you know about this? Or when
Yeah.
did you know about um a good example is I just had a conversation with my middle child, and she's like, well, what are your thoughts about someone that says that they're socially liberal but fiscally responsible, or like fiscally conservative? I'm like, where'd you get that from? But that is a conversation around financial literacy that I didn't even think about. Oh yeah, that is who you might talk to. They might say that. So
Yeah.
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 Next question: how has motherhood shaped your relationship with money?
I think that's a very good question. Again, having different experiences of being a mother. I was a lot younger with my first. I was kind of finding myself, finding my career, going back for my master's. And I think I had more of a scarcity mindset raising her and just being fearful that I wouldn't have enough. I wouldn't be able to support her. She wouldn't have um, the the opportunities that she would need to succeed in life. So it was a lot of me working, maybe not saving as much as I should have, but more so just like using that money to put her in after school programs and tutoring programs and sports programs. So my focus is a lot different now. I think it's more of legacy and saving than it was before, and maybe the little one might not have as many experiences as the oldest one, but but I think I'm in a different place in life and just different understanding and relationship with money than I was when I started off as a mother.
Yeah, I think age does determine the difference between uh, what you're going to choose to do with the kid when they get older, or versus when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
I had this is my first kid that I've had biologically, and I am 38. So I remember having conversations with some people, and they would be like, "Yeah, you got to do this, this, this." I said, I didn't have that because I waited a long time. Like I've always was fortunate enough to marry into a family that has like really respectful kids, or nice kids. But I was like, for the longest, I said, I don't know if I even want children. So I hear that, where there is a change when you're younger versus when you're older. Because I'm always like, oh, okay, that's a very different. You did that very different, like when you're younger than
Yeah.
versus now. For me, I think this is one that I would say I am talking to, I guess, the world now more so than I ever have. My mindset has shifted around money dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily I mean, I would believe I had scarcity mindset just by ancestral things, but I think, you know what I mean? But I think now I this is the most masculine I've ever been. Like, I'm like, oh, you have to make this amount of money to
Mm-hmm.
do these things. And so my mindset has changed, because I don't think I ever had that until I actually had the baby, like while I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Like I really started to grapple with, oh, this is what you have to make money. And there's no other way around that.
Yeah.
I don't know when the switch happened, but that's like, yes, I feel like I'm thinking like a man right now. Like I'm like, oh, okay, yes, you have to have money for to buy more things. And the juxtaposition between ages does play a big role in it. Like, even though we're like kind of starting all over, some of the same things apply. Like everybody's got to get a 529.
Yeah.
Even our oldest, like you can use a 529 for grad school, you can use a 529 for certifications. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, you know? And I know people have issues with insurance, or like, you know, the insurance trying to take my money, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has to get insured. Well, I think, I don't know when that switch changed, because I was very much so like, just go with the flow. But yeah, it definitely changed. Yeah.
I think also, just to backtrack, because I don't know how deep I want to go in the conversation, but part of my challenges or my views of how my finances and money have also shifted is that when I had my oldest, I was also a single mom. I'm not a single mom now. And one of the things that happened early in my daughter's first couple of years of being alive, my then husband took all of our savings that I had planned to put towards her college out, and just took it to restart his life in another state. And I felt like I was always playing catch up to, I wasn't making enough money to be able to put money back into her pot. And now she's, you know, I focus on the two differences in how I approach it, but I can also talk about, like, you know, now the oldest one is in high school and getting prepared for college. And I think there is this nervousness of me not being prepared enough to make sure that she's, you know, has whatever choice of school that she wants to go to, or have the money to go away if she wants to. And I think that also plays a part of me just being like super anxious. And I kind of put that on her as well, which I feel like I don't think that's going to carry over in how I talk about money and finances with my younger one, because I feel like there's more security for her than there is, and more time overall. And I know more and I experience more. So I feel like she'd have the benefit of that. Whereas the oldest, it was just like she was growing up while I was growing up. So,
I mean, I would say that's the testament of most people.
mm-hmm.
Like my husband is referred to as the third parent.
Yeah.
You know, like that is very common, where when you're a mom just trying to figure out, particularly if you're a single mom, like I grew up with a single parents.
Yeah.
And like figuring that stuff out is very different, and having two different, you know, parenting situations and scenarios. Yeah, I think that also I mean, you're doing a lot of like coaching and executive coaching around like money and mindset. It seems like you're also going through that whole journey yourself too. Like, okay, what was my mindset before? And then what was my mindset? Now? Those are two different things. How do you think you move from the scarcity mindset to whatever it is you have right now? I don't really know if it's abundance, but like security or financial security.
I don't think I made it there, like to the complete opposite of how I've been feeling, but I think I've experienced what it was when I didn't have, or when I was less fortunate. So I know that I would be able to manage or survive. So I at least know like what my bottom is. So there's less fear of getting there again because I've done it, I've navigated it. So I think that's probably made things a little bit different for me.
That's accurate. I mean, I think that's probably you can only go up from now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I've already hit that bottom. We know how to get out of it, but like let's not keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Yes. Okay. Speaking of which, I mean, we talked about the kids already, but what's like one money lesson you are actively teaching or plan to teach your kiddos?
I think one is just kind of having more conversations about money, which I don't think happened with me and my parents when I was younger. A lot of things I'm learning now and having conversations with my mother as an adult, I realized she probably didn't have that as well. And I'm not afraid to say that I don't know this information, but we're learning together. So exploring things with my children, having those conversations, learning from them as well, but also pulling away from the emotional piece of the dealing with finance and emotions, because you kind of get stuck when you're too scared to act or make decisions, especially when it comes to money. Like I'm learning to pull away from the emotional aspect of it, but I want to also have them come from more of a knowledge based approach to how they manage and look at finance.
My big thing now is really making people understand the power of college. Or I know people say trade schools, but it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as of now, or excuse me, in the past, I used to teach a financial literacy class called like So You Think You Can College or something like that. And I would have these conversations with people that would be considered to be well off about money. So I would always ask, like, what do you think college is? How much do you think college is? Like, how do you think it's going to help you in the long run? And those conversations ended up being really fun because you really don't know what your kid is thinking. You don't know what someone that's a teenager is thinking. And chances are they're just as stressed out as you are.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing that class, it was like at a summer camp. And you would just hear these girls stressing out about money and stressing out about their parents and being like, I'm really grateful for my parents, but like they either may not know what I really want to do versus what they want me to do. But talking to them about the costs of college is like mind blowing for them. I think just simple, it doesn't feel like simple things, but like starting off with, okay, this is college. All right. This is how much it costs. Okay. It costs, even explaining like this is how much college costs for most schools. All right. That's mind blowing for them just to see all those girls in excess, even if they have income. Right. Then you go, okay, plus there's living. And explain like, what do you need for living? And like they have to literally think about, oh, I need food. I need to go out. I need to like there's so many things that they forget is a part of their parents spending their money on, on their kid. And then you start talking about other stuff like health insurance and all this stuff. And they're like, whoa. So it ends up being this what looks like, $20,000 ends up being $200,000.
Yeah.
So I think even for them to see like the big picture of things is really important. But then also to realize like, yes, it sometimes is difficult for those payments, but then in the long run, you can go to this career or you can do this track or, if you wanted to leave the country, you're more likely because guess what? They really want educated people. Like you can move to Canada. You know what I'm saying? So those things are really important. And I think that is the conversation I am having with my 12-year-old going on 13, and I am very much so like dual enrollment. So while you're in high school, you will be taking community college classes.
Yeah.
Let's cut some of these expenses.
I actually haven't thought about that as a strategy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, let's cut some of these expenses. And you have a parent that can help you with your homework. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm like, how do you even some of the playing field right now? So yeah, like there are concurrent enrollment, there are dual enrollment classes. I mean, that's also because I used to be a teacher, but I'm starting off with stuff like that. And then, there's other little things like your first job, like those things are.
I can't wait till my oldest gets her first job because she has all these ideas. And when you were sharing your story about, the cost of college, it reminds me of that Cosby episode where Bill Cosby is talking to his son and, trying to tell him like what it is to live in the real world. And Theo always had an answer to everything. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And my daughter's pretty much like that. Like she has to have a lived experience for her to understand what it really means to have money and have to pay bills. So I'm actually super excited for her first job.
It is, and it's a real thing because I think like for my oldest, he was so focused on getting a job, and we were like, jobs are for him. We were like, jobs will always be there. You're gonna have employment. Like you need to make sure that your grades are up to par. Mm-hmm. And then now he's like, well, I just need a break from school. I'm just gonna, it's like, okay, you're taking a gap year. That's cool.
Yeah.
But, you're always going to be employed. Like, that's what I was going to say. It's like, you're always going to have a job. For my middle child, she's very much so like, I need a job for secure. Like, she's like, I want a high paying job. Like, that's her only. Well, I'm like, whoa, that's a very different conversation that I've ever had with like, even myself. Like, she kind of comes out the gate with it. She's like, as long as I can do all the things that I need to be able to do, I want a high paying job, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so tell me about that. And she's like, well, I've already looked at all these degrees and these are the ones that are profitable. Like it's a very different conversation. And I think it's really important to definitely have more conversations with maybe one of the kids that is less money, needs more, like you said, experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there definitely is that. It really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Okay. I also think that I have to reframe my beliefs around money because I also had a different experience. So I always have to catch myself around like my anxiety around money as well. Like,
yeah,
I was in college during the 2008 recession.
Yeah.
And I remember just being so poor. Like I remember when they froze all of our federal fund, like any type of grants or anything. And I remember having just like pure top ramen every day.
Yeah.
And some people were like, well, that's very normal for college. But like I was even afraid to ask my family to pay for groceries.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to remind myself, like, your kids have a very different situation than you did. So you can't have the same conversations. Yeah. Okay. Let's think more like future of what should we do or what should we think about? What kinds of financial support do we wish existed for mothers?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I feel like the one support that's right there in your face is just like the cost of childcare being ridiculous in this country. I've had a lot of family support, but youngest one is getting ready to go to daycare, and just having to think about the cost of that, and when school's out, and the summer is here, and putting them in camp and trying to figure that out has always been a numbers game, or kind of a puzzle that you start thinking about in January and still may not have an answer by June.
Yeah, like I didn't even. I'm still behind. Like I'm still like, oh yeah, you're supposed to plan for that. Like, oh, I still, even with the budget or whatnot, like I'll still forget. It's like I have selective amnesia when it comes to those things.
Yeah.
I mean, the average cost of childcare is what, roughly, like it's 6,000 to 20,000 a year or something like that. And yeah, currently I am full-time mom and full-time worker.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's difficult. And every day I go, okay, he's almost one, and it's one and done. Like I'm very like, I wish I was like, I wish that I like loved babies. I like babies, and I was a teacher. Okay,
Yeah.
I like kids. I can sing songs to the day till it gets dark.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, like I really like being an independent person. And to me, it's like, how much money will that take to have my child be a part of my life, but not all encompassing? Clearly, when they're babies, they are all encompassing because you have to tend for them. But I am very much so thinking, well, what's it going to look like for the youngest to go, and me to be able to have a vacation?
Yeah. I would, what I was going to say to the earlier question, and I think I'm also learning, whereas before I was doing a lot of putting money towards different things for my oldest daughter, I think now I've been a lot more resourceful in finding free programs, finding ways in which that she can participate. And I think I learned this maybe from my dad. He used to do a lot of volunteering. He was a tennis coach, taught me and my sister how to play tennis, and he would do a lot of volunteering. Super expensive sport, but he would coach so that we can get lessons in a program, or he would use his hours to drive a van up with one of our programs to play tournaments upstate New York. And because he was doing that, we also had a ride and a hotel to stay at to play our matches and things like that. So just being more resourceful, like while it could be super expensive to take, have a child and at all stages of their life, but leading into AI and tech more, having the resources available to me to kind of find out where there might be some free program that she can be a part of or sign up for or compete against, I've been able to kind of add to her calendar and get her involved and exposed to things that she probably wouldn't have been exposed to because I don't have the money for.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I basically just use the library.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, so where are the programs and what are they? And I feel like the working with the librarian has helped. So where we live, they have like a Black Girls screenwriting program.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's like a partnership with the library. But yes, I think the cultural capital piece is really important, because one, that stuff does look good. Like it looks good in the long run. It teaches you skills, and even though it's frustrating on the parent side, it is worth it.
Yeah.
It's not what you know. It really is who you know. Like, yeah, that it really is who you know, and that's like a big piece that I've been learning. for the past couple of years, especially with our oldest, because if I didn't have friends that were athletes for this college and this college, I wouldn't have known how to do any of this stuff. Like, we were able to put our oldest in basketball, everything, state, all that stuff. And I wouldn't have known that because I wasn't sports. I was Model UN student government. So I had no clue. So that is really important. So to close out, maybe we should, I really want to talk more about the money side before, just to make sure that folks know like what's out there in terms of resources for money, future, and whatnot. Okay. So there's a couple of things that we talked about before. So one was like childcare, right? And so if you have a full-time job, a lot of times they have cafeteria plans in your benefits. And there are ways potentially that you can pay for childcare using some of your benefits. So that's like one thing that folks aren't aware of, but you can't, depending on where you work, some do have cafeteria plans where it can help out with childhood. So one, it's really important to do that. The other thing is, especially when you're talking about moms and motherhood and like the future, there are brokerage funds, there are 529s, and those are ways that you can save money for your kid. 529 is specifically education, but it's not just college only. It could be certifications, it can be other things. So you could sign up for those. And like that's one of my to-do lists. Like I have to set up a 529 the next month and make sure there's money that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, starting slow like that. Depending on the state that you live in, they also have some states have opportunities where you can put college money into like a college fund. So I think, I don't know if Florida does it, but I know that when I moved back to California, because this is where I grew up, from Philly, and I got this letter in the mail that was like, hey, we're going to put money towards your kid for school when they get to college. This is how much we're giving you. Just apply, like check off that. And I couldn't believe it. I said, what? Like, I couldn't believe that they were giving me money to invest in the child. So I'm excited. I was excited about that. But yeah, so there are like different options. And here's the other thing I think with money, it really is important to ask your network, like, what are they doing? And I think some of us are scared to do that. But I have had friends that were way more ahead of me when it came to money. Like I have had a friend who set all of her kids up with trust. And I was like, what? So it's like, sometimes it's really important to have those conversations with your friends as well, just to engage where they're at with it. It's kind of a scary conversation, but it will help. And it also lets you know what the families are also thinking about. Yeah. I think that's a very difficult conversation. So you don't have to have it, but yeah.
Definitely need to.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too, we have CHIP. Like, one of those things where it's like, I was like, what's the solution to some of these problems? It's like, yes, that is why we created CHIP. Like, I wrote a book a couple of years ago that was like, write out your money story, like what you need. And at the end, it was like, here are all your financial BFFs. but I didn't know where to find them. And I didn't know how to find financial BFFs that looked similar, had same cultural values. And so Chip does have that. Like, there are people that can help you out with some of your needs. So, if you have a question, you can make sure you can also ask or find an estate attorney in your area, or a CPA for your business. Yeah, there's so many things, but I can't wait till we do a part 2, because there's a lot of questions I have now after we had this conversation. I also have some questions about, like, I got to hear that story. I didn't want to dive too much into it, but like, I am curious about the rebuilding. It seems like you did a great job at rebuilding. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it looks that way.
You don't know what you see one thing and I see another thing. Because when we have conversation and you're like, oh yeah, you'll do like mindset work with us. I'm like, okay, that just saved me 15 minutes of my life. Therefore, that equates to dollars, and this is how much it works. You know what I mean? So it's like some of those scarcity or those ideas that you had in the past, they do help you with your future stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, you'll be back on some of these calls, but I'm glad we had this conversation. I actually have never talked to anyone about really like money and motherhood, actually. So
yeah.
So.
It feels good to share and have that conversation, because you're right. I don't have that conversation enough, or deep enough. I think it's kind of like very surface level, like what you're doing with your kid around here, or sharing resources, but never sitting down and actually asking about what their fears or what they've learned and what do they want to instill in their child. So I think this is actually going to be good practice for me going forward, just to have more of these conversations with my friend group, and maybe even outside of that, to learn what other people are doing.
Yeah, it would be cool to do more of a call around, or like even the conversation, maybe more of a live call to see where people's heads are at. Because I think there are a lot of like working folks, and they're thinking about this, but there's a difference between thinking and the activation. Yeah. So what does it look like if we're actually all activating these ideas? And what does it look like if we're actually activating like wealth? Like what are the checklists? So maybe we should talk about that next time too. Well, as always, thanks for hopping on, and thanks for being with us on our Zones of Genius. You know where to find us. We're at chipprofessionals.com. And if you have any questions around this call, you can also email us at info@chipprofessionals.com as well. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Zone of Genius, where we make money make sense. If you felt seen, heard, or inspired today, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode, leave a review, and tag us in the moments that moved you. And when you're ready to stop doing it all alone and start building your financial team, visit chipprofessionals.com, and we'll connect you with trusted experts who will help move you forward with strategy, support, and confidence. Until next time, stay in your genius.